morning, everyone. I am Reneen Wisternew. I'm going to talk all about the Norse god or the Norse mythology. No god of grace could be heroic. All the Olympians were immortal and invincible. They could never feel the glow of courage. They could never defy danger. When they fought, they were sure of victory, and no harm could ever come near them. It was different in Asgard, the giants whose city was Jotunheim, were the active, persistent enemy of the Aesir, as the gods were called. And they not only were an ever-present danger, but knew that in the end, complete victory was assured to them. This knowledge was heavy on the hearts of all dwellers in Asgard, but it weighed heaviest on their chief and ruler, Odin, like Zeus. Odin was the sky father. But there, the resemblance ends. It would be hard to conceive anything less like the Zeus of Homer than Odin. He is a strange and solemn figure, always aloof, even when he sits at the feast of the gods in his golden Gladshame or with the heroes in Valhalla. He eats nothing. The food sit before him. He gives to the wolves who crouch at his feet. On his shoulder perched the ravens who fly each day through the world and bring him back news of all that men do. The name of one is thought Hugin, and the other memory Munin. While other gods feasted, Odin pondered on what thought and memory taught him. He had the responsibility more than all the other gods together of postponing as long as possible the day of doom. Ragnarok, when heaven and earth would be destroyed. He was the All-Father, supreme among gods and men. Yet, even so, he constantly sought for more wisdom. He went down to the well of wisdom, guarded by Mimir, the wise, to beg for a draught from it. When Mimir answered that he must pay for it with one of his eyes, he consisted to lose the eye. He won the knowledge, edge of the runes, too, by a suffering 9 whole nights on a wind rock tree. Wounded with a spear, I was offered to Odin, myself to myself, on the tree of which no man knows. Maidens were his attendants. The Valkyries they waited on the table in Asgard and kept the drinking horns full. But their chief task was to go to the battlefield and decide at Odin's bidding who should win and who should die. And the carry brave did to Odin. Val means slain, and the Valkyries were the chooser of the slain. And the place to which they brought the heroes was the hall of the slain. Valhalla in battle, the hero doomed to die would see maidens excellent in beauty, riding their steeds in shining armor, sullen and deep in thought, with their white hands beckoning. Wednesday is of course Odin's day. The southern form of his name was Woden. Of the other gods, only 5 were important: Valdir, Thor, Freyr, Heimdall, and Tyr. Valdir was the most beloved of the gods on earth as in heaven. His death was the first of the disaster which fell upon the gods. At night, he was troubled with dreams, which seemed to foretell some great danger to him. When his mother, Frigga, the wife of Odin, heard this, she determined to protect him from the least chance of danger. She went through the world and exacted an oath from everything, all things with life and without life, never to do him harm. But Odin still feared. He rode down to Niflheim, the world of the dead, where he found the dwelling of Hela, or Hel, the goddess of the dead, all decked out in festal array. A wise woman told him for whom the house had been made ready. Odin knew that Balder must die, but the other gods believed that Frigga had made him safe. They played a game accordingly which gave them so much pleasure. They would try to hit Balder, to throw a stone at him, or hurl a dart, or throw an arrow, or strike him with a sword. But always the weapons fell short for him, or rolled harmlessly away. Nothing would hurt Balder. He seemed raised above them by this strange exemption, and the old honored him for it, except one only, Loki. He was not a god, but a child of giant, and wherever he came trouble followed. He continually involved the gods in difficulties of danger. But he was allowed to come freely to Asgard, because for some reason never explained, Odin had sworn brotherhood with him. Hated Bud, and he was jealous of Volnir. He determined to do his best to find some way of injuring him. He went to Frigga disguised as a woman and entered into talk with her. Frigga told him of her journey to ensure Balder's safety, and how everything had sworn to do him no harm, except for one little shrub, she said, the mistletoe. So instead it was enough for Loki. He got the mistletoe and he went with it to where the gods were amusing themselves. Hoder, Balder's brother, who was blind, sat apart. "Why not join in the game?" asked Loki. "Blind as I am," said Hoder, "and with nothing to throw it at Balder either." "Oh, do your part," Loki said. "Here is a twig. Throw it and I will direct your aim." Hoder took the mistletoe and hurled it with all his strength under Loki's guidance. It sped to Balder and pierced his heart. Balder fell into the ground dead. His mother refused even then to give up hope. Frigga cried out to the gods for a volunteer to go down to Hela and try to ransom Balder. Hermod, one of her sons, offered himself. Odin gave him his horse, Sleipnir, and he sped down to Niflheim. The other prepared the funeral. They built lofty pyre on a great ship. There they laid Balder's body. Nanna, his wife, went to look at it for the last time. Her heart broke and she fell to the dead. Her body was placed beside his. Then, I wanted to show you some videos that I searched in YouTube.
In the beginning, there was naught but the great yawning void known as Ginnungagap. The first realm to form was Muspelheim in the south, a bright land, engulfed in fire and guarded by Surt with his flaming sword. To the north formed Niflheim, the freezing land of fog, containing the spring Hevergilmir, from where the primordial rivers began to flow. These rivers flowed into the void and began to freeze as they came further from their source, until the north of the void was completely filled with ice. The moisture rising from the ice froze, creating layers of rime across the glacial landscape. The south of the void was brightened by the sparks and embers flying out of Muspelheim, creating a warm breeze which drifted towards the icy north. When the rime was touched by the breeze, it began to melt. Droplets came together as new life and took the form of Ymir, the first of the frost giants. When Ymir lay down to sleep, the sweat from his left armpit formed 2 children and his legs formed a 6-headed son. From them descended the frost giants. The drops from this rime then formed the cow Adumla, whose milk Ymir used for sustenance. Adumla sustained herself by licking the salty rime-covered stones surrounding her and Ymir. On the first day that she licked the stones, she uncovered the hair of a man. On the second day, his whole head appeared, and on the third day he was completely uncovered. He was called Buri, and before long he fathered a son called Bor. Bor married Bestla, the daughter of a giant, and they had 3 children together, the eldest being Odin, the second Vili, then Ve. The 3 brothers killed the giant Ymir, whose wounds unleashed a great stream of blood, drowning all the frost giants except Bergelmir, who built an ark and boarded it with his wife. They became the ancestors of all frost giants. Odin and his brothers took the body of Ymir to the centre of the void, using it to create the world. The sea and the lakes came from his blood, and the land from his flesh. The mountains were made from his bones, and the rocks from his teeth. Ymir's skull was used to create the sky, and was placed over Earth's 4 corners. From Ymir's flesh spawned the dwarves, one of whom stood under each of Earth's corners. They are called North, South, East, and West. The brothers then took the sparks and embers flying out of Muspelheim, placing them throughout the heavens, creating the stars. They were positioned in such a way day could be distinguished from night, thus started time. The Earth took a circular shape and is surrounded by a deep ocean. Along the shore of this ocean, the brothers gave giants land to live on, which was named Jotunheim. To protect themselves against these giants, the brothers built fortifications further inland out of Ymir's eyebrows and named it Midgard. Finally, they took Ymir's brains and threw them into the sky, creating the clouds. From driftwood, Odin and his brothers created new life. Odin giving them breath and life, Vili intelligence and feeling, and Ve form, speech, hearing, and sight. Thus, the first humans were born, a man and a woman, Ash and Elm. They were given a home in Midgard, and it is here where humans still reside to this day. The brothers then fashioned a magnificent city named Asgard at the centre of the world, a place to call home. Odin became the ruler of Asgard and took the beautiful Frigg as his wife. She bore him the Aesir, the divine gods who dwell in Asgard, and so Odin came to be known as All-Father, as he is the father of both the gods and mankind. To connect the realms, the gods built a bridge named Bifrost, which is known to the humans as a rainbow. Next to Bifrost lives Heimdall, who guards it against the mountain giants and is the watchman of the gods. He sports perfect vision in both night and day, golden teeth, and a horn named Gjallarhorn, whose blast can be heard in all worlds. In Jotunheim, a giant named Norfi had a daughter by the name of Night. She, in turn, had a son called Day. Odin took Night and Day, giving each a horse and chariot, who were then bid to ride around the heavens. On Earth, a boy Mani, meaning moon, and a girl Sol, meaning sun, were taken and placed in the heavens by the gods. Sol pilots the chariot pulling the sun, with Mani controlling the moon. The siblings move across the sky with such haste, as they are constantly being pursued by 2 great wolves, Skull and Hati, who wish to devour them. In all, 9 worlds were created to hold the different beings of the universe. Asgard is home to the gods and Midgard to the humans, Alfheim to the light elves, and Nidavellir to the dwarves, also known as the dark elves. Jotunheim was given to the giants, and Vanaheimir to the Vanir, a group of wise fertility gods. Niflheim and Muspelheim are the primordial realms which formed the cosmos. Finally, Hell is the land to which those who die dishonourably go, to spend the afterlife. These worlds are all connected by the great ash tree Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil has 3 great roots. The first sits above Urd's well, the Well of Fate, where the gods sit in council every day. Beside this well live the Norns, 3 prophetic maidens who determine the course of human lives. The second root of Yggdrasil is placed above Mimir's well, the Well of Wisdom.
Oh, it's my delivery. I can't believe I got it for free, and it looks so good.
Beneath the final root sits Hvergelmir, the spring from which the primordial rivers originate. This root is constantly gnawed upon by the dragon Nidhogg. High in Yggdrasil sits a giant eagle who creates the winds when he takes flight. A squirrel named Ratatosk runs up and down the tree, delivering insults between the eagle and Nidhogg, provoking each. Odin, the Allfather, Lord of Asgard and the eternal seeker of knowledge, despite wielding immense power, values wisdom over all else. In his thirst for knowledge, Odin visited Mimir's well, whose waters hold the secret to great intelligence. The guardian of the well, Mimir himself, was not ready to so willingly share the gifts of the well, and so asked for a sacrifice from Odin to prove himself worthy. Odin gouged out one of his eyes and dropped it into the water. Impressed, Mimir offered Odin a drink, who happily accepted. Odin then sought the Norns, who shaped destiny by carving runes, which are Nordic letters, into the trunk of Yggdrasil. Determined to acquire the power and wisdom the runes could impart, Odin sought them out, but would once again
In summary of my topic, the Norse god and goddesses belong to two major clans, Aesir and Vanir. So Odin, Frigg, Thor, Loki, Valdir, Hod, Heimdall, and Tyr are the most elevated representatives of Aesir and are known as the main gods. The second clan, Vanir, contains the fertility gods and Count Jord, Freyr, and Freyja as their most notable members, despite the antagonism between them. It was necessary for the two families to combine their powers and ideals for all to prosper. So, the Norse god and goddesses, let's start with Odin. Odin, the supreme deity of Norse mythology and the greatest among the Norse gods, was Odin. He was the son of the god Bor and the Jotun Bestla, and was considered to be the Allfather of the Aesir. Odin was the awe-inspiring ruler of Asgard, and the most revered immortal who was on an unrelenting quest for knowledge with his two ravens, two wolves, and the Valkyries. He was the god of war and being, delightful, paradoxical, also the god of poetry and magic. He was famous for sacrificing one of his eyes in order to be able to see the cosmos more clearly, and his tears for wisdom saw him hung from the world tree, Yggdrasil, for 9 days and 9 nights until he was blessed with knowledge and the runic alphabet. His unyielding nature granted him the opportunity to unlock numerous mysteries of the universe. So Odin was often depicted riding upon Sleipnir, a great flying horse with 8 legs, and wielded the spear Gognir, which was said to never miss its mark. He was thought to have had at least 5 sons with 4 different partners. It's thanks to him that we have our word Wednesday, literary Woden's Day. Bor, word for Odin, father of Odin. Vili and Vi, whose origin within Norse mythology remains shrouded in mystery. His mother was never revealed. Bor is sometimes taken to signify the earth of the very first mountain. So, in my understanding, I think Odin is the most powerful gods in Norse myth. And also to the wife of Odin, it's Frigg, or which is Frigga. Odin's wife, Frigg, was a paragon of beauty, love, fertility, and faith. She was the mighty queen of Asgard, a venerable Norse goddess of the sky, who was gifted with the power of divination, and yet was surrounded by an air of secrecy. She was the only goddess allowed to sit next to her husband, and remained loyal to him, despite his numerous extramarital affairs. Frigg was a very protective mother, so she secured an oath from the elements, beasts, weapons, and poison to ensure that they would not injure her brilliant and loving son, Valdir. Suning si Valdir, bisan uno na weapon na ang kuan mo kanan is dili yan mamatay. Dili sa makaduol weapon kanan. So aroy ang makapatay lang kay Valdir is itong dili makakita. So we will tackle that in the next page. So here her trust was betrayed by Loki. So si Loki ang magurang ito ko na ni Valdir na dili makakita bulag ang itong kanan ilangan na ini itira ini kay Valdir na ito na kay ni si Loki. Grabe niyan ka jealous sa mga gods kaya ang dili yang part yan ng giants is not one of them. It is not one of the gods but one of the giants yan. Pero idawat gihapon yaan ni Odin because of their I think Odin ba or because of their friendship. Loki, a most deceitful god. Fregg's name is directly responsible for our rendering of the word Friday. So she secured an oath from the elements, beasts, weapons, and poisons to ensure that they would not injure her brilliant and loving son, which is Valdir. Her trust was betrayed by Loki, a most deceitful god.
Show you
Odin hung himself from a branch of Yggdrasil whilst impaling himself
on
the
the
spear.
video that
He also forbade the
I
gods to
showed
give him
you
food
earlier.
or water, leaving him to starve in pain for 9 days and nights before the runes finally revealed themselves to him. From them, he gained invaluable knowledge and could now wield runic magic to help heal and shield his allies or smite and crush his enemies. Odin's true goal is the gathering of knowledge in preparation for Ragnarok, the end of the world, in a desperate attempt to delay it. To prepare for the climactic fight, Odin sends his Valkyries, a group of divine maidens he commands, to every battle to decide who will be victorious and who will die. They then select the most heroic of the slain and bring them to Odin's hall in Asgard, called Valhalla. Odin sits at the head of this vast hall, with his 2 wolves, Geri and Freki. Odin himself needs nothing to eat and sustains himself exclusively through wine, which serves as his food and drink. Atop his shoulders perch 2 ravens, Hugin, Thought, and Munin, Memory, who fly off into the world every day at sunrise to gather information. They always arrive back for the daily feast and whisper the events of the world into Odin's ears. The fallen warriors who reside in Valhalla are known as Einherjar, and every day they commence in friendly battle with each other. At Ragnarok, they will stream out of the hall and stand shoulder to shoulder with the gods against the forces of destruction. Thor, Odin's son, protector of mankind, and the mighty god of thunder, is the strongest of the gods. He sports a magnificent mane of red hair and a giant rosy beard to match, flying around the skies on his carriage drawn by 2 goats. While quick to anger, Thor is a well-meaning god, and is often the unwitting victim of pranks played by the trickster god Loki. Thor is married to the goddess Sif, who herself fell victim to a prank by Loki. Loki thought it would be funny to shave Sif's hair off, but Thor, upon seeing his wife's bald head, found little to laugh at. He grabbed a hold of Loki and was just about to start breaking bones when the prankster promised he could get the dwarves to fashion her a new head of hair. Thor agreed, and Loki soon had the dwarves mould pure gold into magical hair which would grow and act like normal. Along with this, they made many other treasures for the gods, including an indestructible hammer. As this hammer was forged, a fly bit the smith's eye, causing blood to cloud his vision, resulting in the handle being unusually short. These gifts were presented to the gods, and the hammer was given to Thor, who was incredibly impressed despite its flaw. If thrown, it would never miss its mark, and could always find its way back to him. Small enough to keep in his shirt, This hammer, which crushes all in its path, is named Mjolnir. Loki, the god of mischief and the nefarious son of a giant, aligns with or against the Aesir as he sees fit, often outwitting and pranking Thor, among others, for his own amusement. Loki went from a harmless prankster to a full-blown enemy of the Aesir as time went on. He had several children, including the giantess Hel, who resides over the realm that takes its name from her. Loki's other children include the Midgard serpent, Thor's eternal rival, and the giant wolf Fenrir. Loki became truly irredeemable when he orchestrated the death of Odin's son Balder, the most beautiful of the gods. Sensing his imminent demise, Balder went to his mother Frigg for help, who blessed him against damage of all weapons of all materials. The gods held a contest where they shot at Balder with arrows, who laughed as they rebounded off of him. Loki was angered by his invincibility, and so disguised himself as a woman and approached Frigg. He asked if Balder was completely invincible, and Frigg replied yes, to all things except mistletoe. Loki immediately gathered some mistletoe and approached Odin's blind son, Hod. As Hod was blind, he could not participate in the competition, so Loki offered to guide him, handing him a bow with an arrow made of mistletoe. Hod shot Balder, killing him immediately. In their grief, the gods appealed to Hel to release the fallen god. She refused unless every being in the universe wept for him. The Aesir managed to make this happen, apart from one giantess, Loki in disguise, who refused to cry, leading Balder to be robbed of his resurrection.
High intensity na BO? As emergency yan. Use Rexona after every bath. Say no to as emergencies.
We need the social media manager.
That's me! I'll schedule posts, find influencers. Oh, I can also be your influencer. I can rap, shoot photos, juggle.
You're hired!
Introducing new Dito Flex Plan 388. Flex different sides of you. 50GB data.
Ma, first day
Plus
ko.
only all-net calls and texts. And 12 months Prime video subscription.
Ako naman. My treat. Just had lunch.
Thanks for the treat, son.
The Aesir took Loki to a cave and brought two of his children before him. They turned one brother into a wolf and forced him to savagely disembowel the other. They then tied Loki to the cave with his son's innards. He will remain there until Ragnarok, when he will break free to seek his revenge. Ragnarok is the end of days, where the gods are slain by the forces of chaos and the world is destroyed in fire. The end begins with 3 winters in which a series of battles rage across the world, where brother will turn on brother and the sanctity of kinship shall be broken. Then comes Fimbulwinter, bringing ceaseless snow and freezing winds. 3 of these winters will pass in succession, with summer ceasing to exist. The sun and the moon will be caught and devoured by the wolves chasing them, and the stars will disappear from the heavens. The world will be struck by earthquakes as the monstrous sons of Loki emerge, the wolf Fenrir with flames streaming from his eyes, and the Midgard serpent spewing venom across land and sea. The ship of the dead, known as Naglfar, made entirely of the nails of the dead, will sail the frost giants of Jotunheim, accompanied by Loki and the forces of Hel to fight the gods. Amid the chaos, the sky is split apart by the soldiers of Muspelheim, led by the magnificent Surt, who will trample upon Bifrost, destroying it. Even Nidhogg, who gnaws at Yggdrasil's root, shall leave his home to aid the giants. Upon seeing Ragnarok approaching, Heimdall blows Gjallarhorn, alerting the gods to the end of days. The Aesir and Einherjar march bravely towards the Chaos Horde, with Odin at their head. Despite Odin's preparations, the gods fall, one by one, until they are no more. Frey, the fertility god, advances against Surt but is struck down by his flaming sword. Garm, the guardian dog of Hel, ravages the battlefield, leading Tyr, god of war and justice, to sacrifice himself to slay the beast. Thor takes on the Midgard serpent, striking his foe with lightning and hammer, the serpent responding with poison and fangs. Thor emerges victorious, but soon falls to the ground dead, succumbing to the serpent's poison. Odin engages Fenrir, and while he fights valiantly, the great wolf takes victory, devouring the All-Father there and then. Upon seeing his father fall, the god Vidar rushes at the wolf, planting one foot in the beast's lower jaw and ripping Fenrir's head in two. Heimdall clashes with Loki, and each will fall by the other's blade. Finally, Surt covers the whole world in fire, destroying it in a mighty blaze. This is not the end, however, as from the end of the old world, another can be born anew. Few escape Ragnarok, but those that do rebuild the fallen world. Odin's sons Vidar and Vali survive and inhabit the ruins of Asgard. Thor's sons Modi and Magni later join them, carrying Mjolnir with them. Baldar and Hod then ascend from hell together and reminisce on the bygone age. Two humans survive by hiding in a place known as Hodmimir's Wood, and will have many descendants repopulating the world. The son will also have a daughter before she dies, no less beautiful than her, who shall follow her mother's path in the sky. Upon this new world, the population will prosper and rejoice in the peaceful years to come. Look to the horizon, however, to see a dark shadow loom. The dragon Nidhogg, carrying corpses in his great talons. Ragnarok will come again.
That's all my topic, and I hope you enjoy watching and listening to my discussion about Norse gods and goddesses or Norse mythology. Thank you.